Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. Today's episode I wanted to talk about a crazy project split window that sold on Bring a Trailer this week by Dennis Collins. It was a Holy Grail split window.
A Holy Grail Corvette.
That went up for over $100,000, which is absolutely crazy. So let's dive into the project, talk about the advantages of building a car like this versus buying a car like that, or even starting with a nicely restored car. So be sure to stick around. Also, if you're not aware, I have a website where I have some high quality Mid-Year Mitch merch like this, and I also have some new stickers that will be on the website this weekend. So we have a little Misfit, a little Overkill sticker, and some Mid-Year Mitch stickers. So be sure to check those out. I also have some windshield spacer blocks on there, and there'll be some more stuff coming on the website. So check that out. So here's the listing. I sold for $103,500. Very high. It was in Texas and sold by Dennis Collins, the guy who was on Gas Monkey Garage, Fast and Loud, really good friends with Richard Rawlings. So you can see right away the car has knockoff wheels, which are like the 65, 66 style. It's got old blue paint on it. Has either a little bit of a primer repair or the paint's flaking off. It's hard to say. So it could have had a little bump back here. But overall, it looks like a nice car. It looks like the gaps look pretty nice. I don't see from the pictures any panels separate or anything goofy. Now, in the interior, there is a little bit of rust right here, which that's not too terribly concerning. That may require some surgery, but most likely you could blast it and treat it, maybe put a little metal patch in right here. But I don't think there's going to be any major surgery like what we had to do on this old car. Now you can see it's got seats. It's hard to tell, but it almost looks like there's 64 seats because of the double seam through here. 63 seats kind of come to a point, so I'm not really sure. It's hard to tell. They might be 63 seats. They might just be smushed. It's got the right console, shifter, right glove box door. Looks like it's got the right clock gauges. Looks like it might have the right steering wheel. So it looks like it's a fairly original car in there, and it's all complete. We got completage. Looks pretty clean. No power options in here. We have 2 cranks on each door. And we can see we have the Corvette script valve covers, which I thought this was a 340 horse car, but it's not the original engine. It's a 65 engine with different valve covers, and the snorkels are cut off the air cleaner. It looks like it is non-power brakes, and it's probably not power steering. But yeah, 65, 250 horse. So it's not really, it's not a big deal to take this car apart. Now the underside looks pretty nice. Trim tag. There's a ton of pictures for this, which I'm not going to go through all of these. But the thing that I wanted to point out is you can tell that this was not a put-together car, just because, well, how nice it presents. But you can tell, if I scroll, okay, you can tell that this car wasn't put together for how nice the floor is and everything. It looks like you can read the job number 416 down here. Early car, because it's got the real deep toolboxes under the seats. It's still on the original 63 frame because it's got the goofy emergency brake lever system that they had. But it looks pretty original. Yeah, non-power steering because it's got the little shock here on the frame. So most likely this was a 250 or a 300 horse car originally. So it was never a high horsepower car. The higher horsepower cars did not have that stabilizer. But the floor all looks nice, so we know that that was not messed with. The frame looks pretty solid, so we can assume, it's bad to assume, but you can assume that the bird cage is probably pretty decent compared to some of the stuff we've worked on before. If the chassis is in pretty good shape, you can kind of assume that the bird cage is at least in decent shape. Overall, looks like a pretty clean car. It probably has the original gas tank in it. It's got the original logo on the tank at least. But this is a pretty nice car overall. It looks like an honest car, which is probably why it sold for so much money. I believe it does have original Kelsey Hayes knockoffs on it, just not the 63, 64 style. And let's not get into the debate whether 63s had knockoffs or not. But this is, yeah, I mean, the frame looks very, very, very clean. There's no paint on it, but there's no rust. Like the control arms are in really nice shape, but there's just no paint on it anymore. So this car would be really easy to restore, honestly. So scrolling through the pictures, that looks like a really solid car. Now you could look at that car and say this is a perfect car to restore, which I was upset that it was probably going to be turned into a resto-mod when I first saw it, because it looks like a really nice project, but it's not matching numbers. So for that price point, it really doesn't make sense to restore it, because say you put $40,000, $50,000 into restoring the car, you have a $150,000 car that's worth maybe 120 whenever you're done, because it's not matching numbers, doesn't have any rare options. It may have been a blue car. I have to look back at the pictures. I don't remember what the original color combination was on that car. But it is a very nice car, but it really doesn't need to go back to original. I like to see them restored too, but that car is very suitable for a resto mod. That's why it sold for so much money, because there was a Corvette that sold on Barrett-Jackson that brought almost $1 million in resto mod form, and because of that car, everything else followed. I did a video on a 64 that was burnt that I said would make a cool split window tribute. I did a video on a split window that had a rusted out birdcage and a bunch of flares, and that car did end up selling for, I believe, around $45,000 on eBay. That split window selling for that big bucks, that's not the norm. That's not going to be the trend that every single car is going to sell for that many figures. But if a car sells for that much, all the other projects come up as well. If I would build a resto mod, or you would build a resto mod, we're not going to get that kind of money. We can't afford to spend $100,000 on a base project and then redo the whole car. But a guy that sells one for $1 million, he could afford to spend $100,000 on a really nice body, because to me, that body looks really nice. Now, it could need quarter panels, it could need pieces on the front end. It may need some patchwork once you get the paint off, you don't know. And it may need some birdcage patches here and there. You don't know until you get into it. But that car, unfortunately, is probably worth $100,000 in this market. So these pieced together cars are going up in value, because whenever we're done with them, they may be a little more costly to build than if you found a little old lady that has a split window in her basement and you buy it for $5,000. Obviously, this is going to cost more, because that situation, there are several guys like myself that build these cars, and they build them actually in more volume than I do, and they have some of them in stock, whether it may not be split windows, but they have cars in stock that you could start out with. And the nice thing about these is most likely we're going to have new quarter panels, probably a new front end, and all the parts that we use, we pick and choose what we want. So we pick good doors, we pick a good top, we use good floors, we use good birdcage pieces. So by the time you get it, you may pay a little bit more than if you would find one that's a little more complete, but you have the peace of mind. You take less risk because you know what you have underneath. And if you buy a car from me, you watch the videos, you can see how I build it, you can see what parts I use. There's nothing hiding, you know? I document everything. That's why I do it, because I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to fear, because I put my best foot forward, and I think I do a really nice job on these cars and make them as nice, if not better, than they were originally. So that's the goal here, and I just wanted to try to illustrate to you guys that it is worth buying these cars. And I have had people buy cars elsewhere from me. I quoted them, and they said that was a little too much for what they wanted to spend. They bought a car, and they bought one that was really rusty, and they had to take it all apart and redo the birdcage. And there's no hard feelings. I don't care. I mean, it's your money. You know, you can do whatever you want with it. But I tell people that it's all about risk and how much work you want to put in and how many parts you want to find. And if you want to start with a complete car, that may be up to you. But now let's kind of dive into some of the parts on these cars that people use as resto mods, because I have people all the time commenting, oh, it's not worth building these cars because I have to find all these little screws, and you need to buy them complete because no one's going to want to take the time to do that. Well, yeah, they are, because I've spent a lot of time building these cars, and I've sold them to some high-quality resto-mod builders, the same builders that you're talking about that you sold complete cars to. People are desperate for these split windows. They'll take them in almost any condition. So now let's dive into some of the parts that these resto-mod guys use, because a lot of people seem to think that it's not worth messing with this stuff. So first off, they take the original chassis and they chuck it. So anything that has to do with the drivetrain or suspension, they don't want anything to do with for a high quality resto mod build. They want good fiberglass, so a good hood, good front end, quarter panels, but they're most likely going to use somewhat stock, if not a little bit wider quarter panel in the back. So the whole body is what they care about. They care about, on a split window, the windshield trim. There's 4 pieces, 2 pillars, an upper and a lower. The upper and lower are reproduced. The side ones are being converted from convertibles. And right now, these trim pieces are not available. I heard that someone's working on reproducing those. Those are fairly expensive pieces. They reproduce coupe vent windows, so those are available. The inside trim, they're going to want that. That's You can find that. That's not that hard to find. They're not terribly expensive. And they're going to want the back window trim, which that is also reproduced. The inside trim, that's kind of hit or miss whether they're going to use that. Most guys choose to put a custom headliner in. They don't use the halo panel that goes over this section, and they use some kind of custom headliner. That does it for the trim on a car because most of them run side pipes. They don't worry about the original rocker moldings. They reproduce side pipes and side pipe covers. Obviously, door handles and stuff is reproduced. They use the original dash frame most of the time and the brake and clutch pedal assembly, and those are readily available. The structure for the glove box and the housing for the gauge cluster. That's pretty much it for the interior that they use because they put custom seats in. They'll most likely use a custom console because they're going to be modifying the transmission tunnel like we've done on this car. So there's a lot of stuff in here that they're not using. They're going to use probably the bumpers, the bumper brackets, and the core support maybe. And up front, they're going to use the headlights. They're probably going to put in new headlight motors. They're probably going to use the wiper transmissions and put in a new wiper motor. That's the bulk of the parts that they're using. Everything else they're buying new, they're refurbishing, or they're repurposing something from another type of car. So for all the people out there that don't believe it's worth putting these cars back together because you don't have every little trim screw or every bolt, well, you're gonna have to buy a bolt bin and buy a screw bin and put it together that way. Like if you're building a custom car, you're gonna use all custom parts. Anyways, all that stuff in the interior that I didn't mention is gonna be replaced. All the emblems and the hardware under the hood and stuff is going to be replaced. So whenever somebody looks at a car like this, this is actually a really good way to start. Corvettes are really simple. Most of them didn't come with air conditioning. Most of them didn't come with a lot of power options, but those are available from Vintage Air, and you can buy the power window kits. So it's very easy to convert these to a more modern vehicle whenever you start with a whole new chassis. So it's actually very, I don't want to say economical, but maybe for a split window, it's becoming more economical to build them this way if the norm is going to be that these project cars are worth $100,000, which I'm not saying that every single project car is worth that. That car had a nice body. It appeared that it had a nice bird cage. It looked like it may have been a no-hit car. It's hard to tell because, you know, I didn't see underneath it, and you can't see it in person whenever you look at it online on pictures, but it looked like a really nice car. So if that car didn't need a lot of body work, if it didn't need a lot of bird cage work, I wouldn't be surprised if the man who sold one for almost $1 million paid $100,000 for that car, because if he could sell next year one for $1.2 million, what's spending another $50,000 more than what you should on a project car? So I'm not saying that every single project car is going to sell for that, but anytime one sells for this, everything else comes up behind it. So that's something to keep in mind when you're watching these videos, seeing these cars come back to life, is that these are not cheap cars whenever they come out of here. These are very expensive cars. And I have a split window up top here that's not going to be built for a couple of years, but that car will be very expensive whenever it's done as well in this type of a form. So these are not $10,000 shells. These are not $20,000 shells. These are very, very, very expensive cars whenever they leave, even in this state. So that's something I want you guys to keep in mind. And when you're looking at parts, you know, it can be tricky to find parts. If you're a guy that has never done this before, maybe you want to try to find a car that's a little more complete. If not, find an assembly manual, find a service manual, find a copy of an old Paragon catalog, something that shows you the pieces and parts, where they go, how they go together. That'll be very helpful to you. But for these guys that build resto-mods day in and day out, that have Corvettes, they have shelves full of parts for these cars. They know how to put these together with their eyes closed. So if it's missing a part here or there, they'll either find it, they'll make do, or they'll make something. So it's not a big deal for those guys. But that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. At the time you're watching this video, I will be closing on the house the day that this is posted. So we'll have some interesting content coming up on that soon. The car content will be a little bit slow in this period where we're doing some work on the house and just moving and getting stuff settled. So I appreciate your cooperation and patience with that. We will have a lot of content coming up on this car, as you know. There's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline, changing up the pace a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoy that. If you enjoyed this type of content, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? Do you think I'm full of crap? Do you like building cars like this? I just like to try to give you my perspective, because anytime somebody comments something, even if I believe that their opinion is wrong, you're still entitled to your opinion. But I like to try to get my side of the story out there so you can see it, because I build these cars all the time and I'm used to this market. And some people that start with a perfectly restored car or a perfectly complete car and restore it, you know, they're not gonna like this kind of stuff. But the market is changing, the market's evolving. So I just wanna kind of help you understand that this is the way I think, and this is the way a lot of resto-mod builders think. So if you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Also check out the products on my website that I talked about earlier. And I got a lot of work to do, so I'll catch you guys later.